Hey, I just wanted to share this really cool game that I had against my friend and candidate master, Jonathan, someone I've learned a lot from, had some really exciting games against in the past. Tonight we were playing some casual, 5-3 games, and yeah, this one was awesome. Normally, as a lot of you might know, I am a tried and true E4 player as white, um, but recently Jonathan and I have been discussing systems against E4 as black. So things like the Nimzo-Indian, Queen's Indian, to still get fun attacking games that are really, really positionally solid too, and still meta at the highest level. So for this game, I had white. I decided to put him to the test. So I played d4, and sure enough, Jonathan went right into Nimzo territory with knight f6, e6, and bishop b4. Here I played queen c2, and he played d5. So this is all mainline Nimzo stuff. Before I continue on, I just want to say that, man, this game was one of those games that kind of proves that d4 doesn't always have to be a slow, boring positional grind. It can actually be really exciting, especially when you have two very aggressive attacking players coming face to face across the board. It's also one of those games you'll see was one of the sharpest and most exciting draws I've ever had. So yeah, let's keep going. Let's jump in. So I played a3, putting the question to the bishop right away. Bishop captures, and rather than playing the much more popular queen c3 that features 1600 plus professional games, I ended up playing b takes c3, which according to the Lee Chess Masters database only has 11 games. So definitely an offbeat choice. I'm sure Jonathan was a little bit surprised. The engine definitely doesn't like it as much as queen takes c3, but anyway, let's continue. He decided to castle, smart choice always. And I played bishop g5, kind of taking advantage that it's going to be hard to kick the bishop without making some structural concessions on the king side. And then he's going to have to choose a setup like knight b d7, bringing out his bishop on b7 or a6. So yeah, taking control for just a second here. He played b6, which is kind of where the game starts out of theory. Up to this point, there were two master games that I was able to find. I'll put them up on the screen right now. One ended as a draw and one ended as a win for white, so already in a pretty advantageous spot here. But anyway, Jonathan did pawn to b6, getting ready to bring his bishop out. I kind of strike while the iron's hot with c takes d5, assuming that he would probably take back with the pawn. But the idea is if he takes back with the pawn, it limits the scope of a bishop on b7, and he can't take with the knight, obviously, because my bishop would just take his queen. And if he takes with the queen, which is what he ended up deciding to do, which I thought was very interesting, I take his knight for the bishop. I lose the bishop pair, but I've damaged his king side a little bit. Knowing Jonathan, though, he's going to try to open up lines against me at any cost. He's cementing the center a little bit with more pawns. He can move his king to h8, his rook to g8. Now his bishop is still free to post up at b7 potentially, making kingside castling really tricky for white. And if I castle queenside, it's obviously very airy over there, not secure at all. But the game continues. So I played e4, attacking the queen, taking some spot in the center. Interesting move, queen g5. I develop and attack it. And then, yeah, in this position, after you played queen to g6, I couldn't help myself. I had to, because of who I was playing. Jonathan is really well known for this gambit that he likes to do. I'm just going to pull up a game now So you can see Jonathan as white plays g4 in this kind of position, eyeing the king side. He's got a rook here. He's got his pieces, a knight to jump in. So you can kind of see some similarities in the position here. I played g4. I couldn't help it. Obviously, he can't just take it. At first glance, it looks really nice, right? The queen is attacking the loose knight, but womp womp. And suddenly, I'm going to win his queen. The only thing he can really do is block or trade, and I'm going to be up material. And I should win pretty easily, even against such a higher rated opponent. So obviously, he's smart. He didn't do that. He played a very interesting bishop a6. So something to think about when you're wanting to attack. It gets more difficult the less pieces you have, as my chess club friend Phil puts it. And I think Jonathan was kind of in that same mindset, right? He's putting the bishop on a6, trying to trade off those bishops. With less pieces, it's going to be harder for me to take advantage of this g file here. So with that in mind, I played c4, which the computer hates. But it makes his bishop on a6 a little bit awkward now. Potentially supports pawn moving to d5, which could be good for me. And everything's pretty solid right now. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about is my king isn't very safe, but neither is his. So we're going to get an interesting game. We always get crazy games like this when Jonathan and I play. So he ended up kind of continuing on, knight d7. And I also continue to develop bishop g3, right? If I can move a second time, obviously I would love to, if he just does something silly like that, I'm just going to attack, right? I'm going to push that pawn. I'm going to bring in my bishop and queen over here. I got this pawn, this knight, this rook. Everything's coming into the king side. So, he plays e5 himself. Smart move, right? I can't push this here, and now my bishop is suddenly pretty weak. Not only that, he's eyeing potentially here, and if I take on e5, he's going to take back, and his pawn structure is a lot nicer now. So I play g5. I attack on the flank. Anything to open up this file and get this rook to win the queen. It's the only threat I've got really right now, and it's kind of strong. He has to do something to deal with it. So he ends up deciding to do king h8, which the computer thinks gave me some equality again. And then I immediately blunder that with g takes f6. Computer would love to see me follow up with h4. Makes sense. Get that stronghold on g4, open up lines, maybe even open up the h file and attack the king. So pretty nice. I'm still just barbarically looking to take advantage of this open file. He takes the pawn with the queen. Now he's doubling up pressure on d4, taking advantage of that c4 pawn move that I made a while ago, and he's threatening to take my knight, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a little loose. So I played king e2, which the computer just hates, just absolutely hates it. But like, kind of makes sense, right? I'm giving up that d4 pawn, and he took right away. But it's kind of an umbrella. My king is actually feeling kind of safe in the center right now. Maybe a little bit loose semi-open e-file, but honestly, I'm kind of chilling. If I can move this pawn at any point, I might even be able to drum up an attack again. So yeah. He takes there. And here, I thought I spotted a tactic. I played queen to a4. Right, I'm attacking the bishop and the knight at the same time. Oh my gosh, how can he defend both? Pretty easily. Pretty freaking easily, it turns out. With just moving his knight out of the way, defending the bishop, and attacking my queen, and attacking the bishop. Masters, man. They just, they're tough to deal with. So I bring my queen back, queen c2. Okay. Hands in the air. And here he took my bishop. I thought this was kind of interesting. I didn't see really the advantage to it. Like, his knight is really strong. There's a lot of pressure. My bishop is not doing squat right now, so I was kind of happy to see this. He's going to be up a pawn. He can probably outplay me in the endgame as, being a higher rated player. But yeah, this gave me a little bit of a shot to come back, I thought. He played c5, cementing this pawn structure, and man, if he can ever break through on c4, these pawns are just going to be rolling. It's going to be really hard to deal with, especially if like rooks are traded off or queens are traded off. Man, these are just going to be monsters. And here I did what I could. You promote on the, or you push on the flank. I'm going to attack in the center, right? Opening up my queen, maybe dreams of getting my knight over here and some barbaric threats of mates, maybe getting my rooks on the G file, anything I can do, right? Rook a8, pinning my king. But now, luckily, at least if I move the king off this file, my queen is defending the knight. So I sidestep out of the way. And here he relieves a little bit of his pressure and decides to do rook takes. Computer thinks better was queen f4 check first. But he took. I got a little bit of a chance. Computer still thinks black is winning pretty convincingly. Queen takes. Right. I have to do something. He can even maybe just sacrifice this bishop at any point and start rolling pawns. There's always these checks that get in the way. Checks all day. Oh man. So I gotta do something. I attack. He again puts me in check. I step back. He takes the pawn. Right. I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. I sacrifice another pawn, which he can't take. Right. If he takes, it's just over. I'm gonna attack his queen. He's gonna lose his queen, or he steps back and suddenly I get mate. So he, didn't take the bait there, and instead, pretty brilliant move. Queen a2 just piles up on this this weakness here, getting ready to take back. I can't get a second defender on there, and not only that, he's threatening to come in with queen a1 check. So I have to do something. And right now, as you can see, I had about 1:40 on the clock. Being that it was a casual game and that Jonathan's a nice guy, immediately starts giving me extra time on the clock. 15 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 seconds. Just added a whole bunch of time. It just basically told me like, this is complicated. Take your time. So it was very nice of him. He didn't have to do that, but we're just having fun. Just good games for development. And my first candidate move was actually the one that I spent some time and I calculated with. So I spent probably 3-4 minutes here just thinking through some different lines. What can I do to shake things up? I can't defend that pawn on c4. It's a great time if you want to challenge yourself. There is a tactic white to move and draw in this position. Do you see it? All right, the move is rook takes f7. Wow, right? My threat is to mate on h7 with the queen. And if he takes the rook, I'm just going to win. Check. Right? If he goes here, I'm just going to win the rook. Wow, which actually is the computer is saying is a draw. Oh, incredible. Incredible. Anyway, what I had calculated is he doesn't want to give up a rook. He's going to move here, right? And then we have queen g3, king f6, queen f4 check, pushing him back, queen g6, queen g4, right? If he, I would just note, if he goes to like king g7, then it's just mate, right? So king g6, queen g4 check, king h6, and then rook e6 check blocks, and it's mate. So he didn't take. Instead, he puts me in check. And now this is a really important move too. and it's one that I calculated before I moved here. I think I made this move pretty quick, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 6 seconds. I just blitzed this one out. King c2, giving up the rook. Right? Let's see what happens if we do king d2. Obviously, this is really, really bad because of queen c3 check. And you'll see the difference here in a second. Queen takes, pawn takes with check. That's the point. Now I have to deal with it, and then I lose the material. However, if in this position, white's winning for sure. Takes, takes, no check, win as you please, right? Computer says mate in 12. Okay, so I move here. The final thing to note is, yes, the rook is hanging, but not really. It's indirectly defended by the mate, right? So what can black do? All black can do is put me in check again. And here I spent a good amount of the time I had remaining on, is there a difference between king c1 and d1? I ultimately couldn't find a big difference. All the threats are still in store. I ended up going with king d1. I'm one step closer to a draw against this candidate master player. Maybe I had miscalculated something where my rook, it might be helpful to have my king on d1, kind of holding onto the rook just in case something happens. But ultimately, yeah, it just led to a draw by repetition. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this, I thought, very exciting game. Yeah, wow, what a position, right? Like a tactical zugzwang, where, you know, black is forced to put me into perpetual check, otherwise faces the wrath of the white pieces on the king side. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.